after this lecture, again. Okay. So today's anatomy lecture is on the blood vessels of the upper limb and the lower limb. I think you people are very familiar with this topic because already the lab has been done, isn't it?
Muscular.
Huh?
The whole muscular block.
Okay. And also the before this, so lab has taken, isn't it?
Yeah.
So blood vessels of the upper limb, that is the arteries of the upper limb. So it is the left and right subclavian artery, isn't it? So the left subclavian artery that supplies the left upper limb, right subclavian artery supplies the right upper limb, isn't it? So where it begins, the subclavian artery, left and right, isn't it? So the right subclavian artery originates from the brachiocephalic artery, isn't it? Brachiocephalic artery or plant, isn't it? And the left subclavian artery it originates directly from the arch of aorta. So this is ascending aorta, arch of aorta, and the descending aorta. So this part it is the arch of aorta. So the right subclavian artery it originates from the brachiocephalic artery.
Yes.
Isn't it? Whereas the left subclavian artery it originates from the arch of aorta. Isn't it?
Doctor,
Yes.
is there significant point about this origin? Why it's different or nothing? Just
Nothing, just, isn't it? So this is the left common carotid artery from the arch of aorta, isn't it? So which supplies the head and neck, isn't it? So that is again divided into external carotid and the internal carotid, this one. So similarly, whereas the brachiocephalic artery, okay, it originates from the arch of aorta. It gives rise the right common carotid and the right subclavian.
Yes.
Same thing, isn't it? See here, the left and right common carotid arteries and the left and right subclavian artery from the arch of aorta, isn't it? So it has to travel, isn't it? So this is the first rib,
Yes.
isn't it? So it reaches the first rib
Yes.
and the outer border of the first rib, isn't it? From this point, it becomes
Axillary.
the axillary artery. Very good, isn't it?
Rib or clavicle?
Huh?
This one clavicle or the rib?
Rib, first rib. Clavicle is here. So the rib is here, isn't it? Rib, outer border of the rib it reaches and it continues as a axillary artery. So before this, the subclavian artery gives branches to the scapular region, isn't it? In the thoracic region, isn't it? So it gives rise branches from the subclavian artery. So our consideration, it is from the axillary artery, upper limb artery, isn't it? So it reaches the outer border of the first rib and continues as a axillary artery. See here in this picture. So this is the first rib. First rib. It reaches the outer border of the first rib. It becomes the axillary artery. So this is the pectoralis minor muscle, isn't it? So this axillary artery it is crossed by the pectoralis minor muscle, isn't it? During the travel. So this axillary artery it divides into three parts, isn't it? So what is the extension of the axillary artery from the outer border of the first rib to the lower border of the teres major muscle up to here. So this part, this is the axillary artery, isn't it? And it is crossed by the pectoralis minor muscle, isn't it? Thus, this axillary artery it divides into three parts, isn't it? So above this, the first part, and below the muzzle, this part, isn't it? So this is the second part of the axillary artery, and at the lower border of the pectoralis minor muscle, to the lower border of the teres major muscle. Up to here, this part, this is the third part of the axillary artery, isn't it? So, what are the branches from the axillary arteries, isn't it? So, first part, first, that is one branch. Second part, two branch. Third part, three branch. Easy to remember, isn't it? So first part of the axillary artery, isn't it? So what is the extent of first part of the axillary artery? From the outer border of the first rib to the upper border of the pectoralis minor muscle. This part, isn't it? So this is the first part of the axillary artery, which gives rise to one branch here in this part, isn't it? That is the highest thoracic artery or long thoracic artery, isn't it? And below the pectoralis minor, this part, isn't it? So this is a second part of the axillary artery, which gives rise to two branches, isn't it? So this is about the first part of the axillary artery. So about the relations anteriorly, it is related to the pectoralis major muscle. So it is a broader one, isn't it? Pectoralis major. So this is pectoralis minor.
Yes.
So it is whole. This one it is covered by the pectoralis major muscle.
Just
So,
first part?
huh?
Just the first part or for whole?
No, first part.
Okay.
Isn't it? So the second part it is covered by the pectoralis minor, isn't it? So this one first part it is covered by the pectoralis major muscle. So on the laterally it is related to the cords of brachial plexus. Okay, bunches of nerve which supplies the upper limb, isn't it? So it gives rise to one branch, that is the long thoracic artery. And second part of the axillary artery, it lies behind the pectoralis minor muscle, isn't it?
Yes.
And it is related to medially, laterally and posteriorly the corresponding cord of brachial plexus, isn't it? Brachial plexus, these are the bunches of nerves traveling, isn't it, along with the artery. So,
Only the second part.
yes,
Only the second
the
part.
first part also, it is related to the brachial plexus. So, along the
relation.
this room, yes, relation. And it gives rise to two branches, that is the thoracoacromial artery and the lateral thoracic artery, isn't it? Thoracoacromial and the lateral thoracic artery, two branches. This is over the second part of the axillary artery. And next is the third part of the axillary artery. What is the extent? The lower border of the pectoralis minor to the lower border of the teres major muscle. So this is the teres major muscle, lower border from here, isn't it? So this part, this is the third part of the axillary artery, which gives rise to the three branches, isn't it? That is the subscapular artery, isn't it? And anterior and the posterior circumflex femoral artery. So these arteries winds around the surgical neck of the humerus, isn't it? Below the neck. So this is about the third part of the axillary artery. And next is the brachial artery. So brachial artery, it is a continuation of the axillary artery, isn't it? So from the lower border of the teres major, it starts, isn't it? And it ends, where it ends? It ends in the cubital fossa, isn't it? By dividing into two branches, that is the radial artery and the ulnar artery, up to here, isn't it? It's supposed to be here, the teres major, isn't it? From here, so this is the cubital fossa, isn't it? And it divides into radial and the ulnar here. Up to here, this is the brachial artery. So about the termination of the brachial artery opposite to the neck of the radius by dividing into radial and the ulnar artery, okay, which is in the cubital fossa. And the branches of the brachial artery. So it gives rise to the muscular artery, nutrient artery to the humerus. Okay, and this is the profunda brachii, larger branch from the brachial artery, isn't it? And superior ulnar collateral, okay, and the inferior ulnar collateral. So these are the branches from the brachial artery. So be thorough with these branches, isn't it? Especially it will help in the MCQs, isn't it? Profunda brachii artery. It is the branch from the brachial artery, isn't it?
Yes.
So be thorough, memorize these branches. And apart from this, it gives rise to muscular, isn't it? And superior ulnar collateral and the inferior ulnar collateral. Okay. So be thorough with these branches. Next is the anastomosis around the elbow joint. Anastomosis around the elbow joint. So the anterior descending or radial collateral artery here. Okay, which is a branch from the brachial artery, isn't it? So it anastomoses the radial recurrent, isn't it? Which is a branch from the radial artery. Okay, anastomosis. And similarly, the posterior descending collateral. Okay, it is branch from the anterior descending collateral, isn't it? So it anastomoses with the intraosseous recurrent here. Okay, intraosseous recurrent, which is a branch from the posterior intraosseous artery. Posterior intraosseous artery. So it anastomoses this. Similarly, here the ulnar side, the superior ulnar collateral. So this is branch from the brachial artery, isn't it? And it is anastomosed with the inferior ulnar collateral, isn't it? Anastomosis. Okay. And the inferior, so this is about the anastomosis around the elbow joint. Next is the ulnar artery. So the ulnar artery, the brachial artery, it divides into two parts. That is the radial artery and the ulnar artery. So this is the larger branch compared to the radial artery. Okay. So between the radial and ulnar, so this is the larger one, isn't it? And it begins in the cubital fossa. Okay. At the neck of the radius, isn't it? And descends through the anterior compartment of the forearm and enters in the palm in front of the flexor retinaculum, okay, which forms the superficial palmar arch, isn't it? Next is about the ulnar artery branches. It gives rise to muscular branches and recurrent branch from the anastomosis around the elbow joint, isn't it? We have seen already, isn't it? And the common intraosseous artery, which gives rise to the anterior and the posterior intraosseous artery. So this is the common intraosseous artery, which is a branch from the ulnar artery, isn't it?
Sometimes.
It is very stubborn. Isn't it?
Try to just
Click it and okay.
Next is the radial artery. So it is the smaller one compared to the ulnar, isn't it? And it begins in the cubital fossa, same, isn't it? So at the level of the neck of the radius, and descends downwards laterally, isn't it? Descends downwards laterally, isn't it? And leaves the forearm by winding around the lateral aspect of the wrist. winding around the lateral aspect of the
Let's do it.
wrist joint and reaches the dorsum of the hand, isn't it? And it forms the deep palmar arch, isn't it? It continues as a deep palmar.
And complete superficial.
Yes. And next is the branches of the radial artery gives rise to muscular branches and recurrent branch to anastomosis around the elbow joint and superficial palmar branch. So, which is anastomosis with the superficial palmar arch to the ulnar artery. Is that it? Yes, small part.
Doctor, the recurrent branch anastomosis with what? The elbow joint.
Yes, anastomosis around the elbow joint. I have shown you.
Yes, with which artery?
Here.
This one.
Yes. This one is inferior ulnar collateral, anterior ulnar recurrent. So both are anastomosis, isn't it? Similarly, the anterior radial collateral, it anastomosis the radial recurrent, isn't it? From the radial artery, isn't it? Anastomosis.
Yes.
Next is about the radial pulse, isn't it? So radial pulse below the
Against.
from here. So you have to palpate here for the radial pulse. You can feel the radial pulse here, isn't it? Radial artery, radial pulse. And next is the arteries of the palm. So the ulnar artery enters the hand. So the anterior to the flexor retinaculum, isn't it? So this is the flexor retinaculum. Anterior to this, it travels, isn't it? Which forms the superficial palmar arch, isn't it? So it gives a deep branch and continues as a superficial palmar arch. This is a superficial palmar arch. It gives rise to the digital arteries here, digital branches, isn't it? And next is the radial artery. It leaves the dorsum of hand by the turning forward between the proximal ends of the first and second metacarpal bones, isn't it? It winds around, okay, and it enters into the palm, isn't it? And it gives rise to radial indices and the arteria princeps pollicis. See here. So these are the radial indices artery and the princeps pollicis arteries, isn't it? And it, the radial one, it gives rise to branch here, which completes the superficial palmar arch here. Branch from the
branch from the snuff.
yes. Okay, and completes the superficial palmar arch by joining the ulnar artery.
Doctor, in the superficial palmar arch, what's the main artery? Is the radial?
Ulnar.
Ulnar.
Superficial, that is by the ulnar. Deep one, that is by the radial artery, isn't it? So the deep palmar arch, it is the continuation of the radial artery, isn't it? And it is completed on the medial side by the deep branch of the ulnar artery. Okay, and it sends branches to the superiorly, sharing the anastomosis around the wrist joint, and inferiorly to the branches of the superficial palmar arch, minor branches, okay, which forms the anastomosis around the wrist joint. So the superficial palmar arch, it is more distal to the deep palmar arch, isn't it? So this one is the deep palmar arch and the superficial palmar arch. So this is the distal one compared to the deep palmar arch. Okay. So anterior to this, distal one.
Yes, yes.
And next is the veins of the upper limb. So the veins of the upper limb, it is divided into superficial veins and the deep veins. Okay. So the superficial veins, these are located in the superficial fascia. Okay, superficially these are located, whereas the deep veins accompanies the arteries.
Yes.
So deep veins accompanies the arteries. So
They have the same-
what we call it is the venae committens.
Yes.
One second, I'll show you. So what you are saying, this is the radial artery, isn't it? And the ulnar artery.
Yes.
So on either side of the artery, there are two channels of veins here. So these are the deep veins. Okay, deep veins. That is the radial vein. Okay, venae committens along with the artery. Venae committens.
Yes.
Pair. These are pair in number, isn't it? Deep veins of the upper limb.
Again, Doctor?
So this is an artery, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a radial artery and the ulnar artery and the brachial artery. So along with the arteries, on either side of the arteries, there are two sets of veins. So those are interconnected. Okay, these two channels are interconnected. Those are called the venae committens, deep veins of the upper limb, isn't it? Deep veins. So the superficial vein, those are present in the superficial fascia. Okay. So these veins present in the deeper, isn't it? Along with the arteries.
Doctor? The radial and the ulnar, only two veins that we can say they are vena communis, or there is other visible in the upper limb.
So both the arteries.
Just both of them.
So
Radial-
along with the arteries.
Yes, do we have others?
Others means?
Other, we have ulnar and radial.
Hmm.
Is there anyone else?
Yes, vein.
Other
Yes,
veins?
brachial, followed by the arteries. Brachial vein, like that.
Yeah.
Doctor, for each artery you have two veins?
Yes, yes. Venae committens, we are telling.
Doctor, finally the vena committens with the brachial artery,
Hmm.
where it drain?
Then ultimately it forms the subclavian vein, isn't it?
Yes.
Subclavian vein. So what happens? The deep veins, isn't it? So these are travel in the deeper part of the upper limb, isn't it?
Yes.
So it collects the deoxygenated blood from the deeper parts, isn't it? So it ascends, isn't it?
Yes.
So similarly, all the superficial vein. So all the superficial vein and the deep veins finally forms the subclavian vein,
Okay.
isn't it? So the venae committens, isn't it? So they are generally arranged in the pairs on either side of the artery, isn't it? And the superficial and the deep palmar arterial arches are each accompanied by the pair of venae committens. So the veins follow the artery. Veins follow the artery. So those are the deep veins, isn't it? Next is the axillary vein. It begins at the lower border of the teres major, similarly like the artery, isn't it? And ends at the outer border of the first rib, isn't it? And it becomes the yes,
But the artery starts from the first strip costa.
yes,
Here it starts from the end of the artery, yes? We
yes,
say this.
yes. Similarly, it follows the artery. So these veins follows the artery, isn't it? So axillary vein, it is the brachial veins and close to the termination to the cephalic vein.
These are deep.
One second.
This one.
So the superficial veins of the upper limb, isn't it? So what I told about the deeper one, isn't it? So the superficial veins of the upper limb. So the dorsal venous arch. So network of the dorsal venous arch in the palm, isn't it? So these are collected into the cephalic vein and the basalic vein.
Yes.
isn't it? So the cephalic towards the radial side,
Yes.
basalic towards the ulnar side. It starts, isn't it?
Yes.
So these are the superficial veins. See here, this is the basalic vein and the cephalic vein. It travels in the superficial fascia, superficial veins, isn't it? So these veins are interconnected by the medial cuboidal vein. Okay. So it is a frequent site for the blood withdrawal, isn't it? Blood drawing, isn't it? For the diagnostic purpose, isn't it?
Yes.
And also for the intravenous injections, isn't it? So this is a frequent site, the medial cuboidal vein, isn't it? So the cephalic vein arises from the lateral end of the dorsal venous arch and ascends radial side, isn't it? In the form and elbow and continues up to the arm in the deltopectoral groove here, isn't it? Deltopectoral groove here. And next is about the basalic vein. It arises from the medial side of the dorsal venous arch. Okay, ascends in the ulnar side, isn't it? And it pierces the deep fascia, joins the brachial vein here, isn't it? It pierces the deep fascia. It enter into the, so it will drains into the. It has to drain into the deeper vein, isn't it?
Before it is subclavian enter to the deep vein. Before enter to the brachial, it's enter to the deep vein.
No. Fascia. After that, it will drain. It ends. It pierces the fascia. Okay. After that, it drains into the deep veins, isn't it? So this is about the cephalic vein, basalic vein, and the median cuboidal vein, superficial veins. So deeper one already I told you. Next is about the blood vessels of the lower limb. Okay. So these include the femoral, popliteal, obturator, gluteal, tibialis, and their branches, isn't it? And the great and small saphenous veins and their tributaries. And deep veins, similarly, the deep vein, vena comitans, isn't it? So the femoral, popliteal, and the tibialis. So in the gluteal region, it gives rise to superior gluteal artery and the inferior gluteal artery. These supplies the gluteal region, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they are the branches from the internal iliac artery. So this is the common iliac artery, which is gives rise to internal iliac and the external iliac artery. So the branches from the internal iliac, these are the superior gluteal artery and the inferior gluteal artery, which supplies the gluteal region, isn't it? And the obturator artery, it is the branch of the internal iliac artery. Okay. And it passes through the obturator foramen. Isn't it? It passes through the obturator foramen. And it supplies the medial side of the upper thigh. Medial side of the upper thigh. Next is about the femoral artery. So it is a continuation of the external iliac artery at the mid-inguinal point. Okay. So this is, what is this? Anterior superior iliac spine. Isn't it? And this is the pubic tubercle. So here what is this? Inguinal ligament. So at the mid-inguinal point. Huh?
Yes, you are legal.
Yes. So mid-inguinal point, so it begins. Okay, femoral artery. So it is the continuation of the external iliac artery. So it is the continuation of the external iliac artery. So at the mid-inguinal point, it becomes the femoral artery here. It continues as a femoral artery.
Yes.
So it descends in the femoral triangle. Femoral triangle, isn't it? It descends in the femoral triangle, and then it continues in the adductor canal. Okay, so this is the femoral triangle and the adductor canal, isn't it? So it reaches the adductor hiatus, okay, and it becomes the